Good morning class. Today we will learn the kinds of noun clause. So my dear friends, today we will learn kinds of noun clause. As you know, there are two types of noun clauses. So there are two types of noun clauses. The first one is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. First one is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. Noun clause are mainly of two types. One is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. Once again a question arises into our mind, what is now that clause and what is WH word clause. So first of all I would like to say on the that clause. That clause means it is the clause which begins with that. The clause which begins with that is called as that clause. So dear class, now we shall discuss on WH word clause. The clause which begins with WH word, that is called WH word clause. Clear? Let me explain the first one, that clause. Suppose the example is like this, that clause. For an example, it is true that he is a shy boy. So the clause which begins with that is known as that clause. That he is a shy boy is the that clause. This sentence has two main parts. The first part, it is true. This is the main clause. We call it MC. And that he is shy boy, it is the NC, noun clause. Noun clause are two types. One is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. Once again, I would like to say here that the clause which begins with that is called that clause. That he is a shy boy is that clause. Clear? Now we will discuss the another example for WH word clause. As we know, my dear friends, the clause which begins with WH word is known as WH word clause. For an example, who will organize the show has not been decided, full stop. So in this statement, we found that who will organize the show, it is the WH word clause. Who will organize the show? It becomes the WH word clause because it starts from WH word, who. So that's why in the second sentence, who will organize the show is the WH word clause and it has not been decided is the main clause. So in this sentence we found two parts. One is main clause and the second one is noun clause. Once again, noun clause has been divided into two parts. One is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. WH word clause means the clause which begins with the WH word is called WH word clause. So who will organize the show is the WH word clause and it has not been decided is the main clause. Clear class? Let's have a vivid discussion about two clauses. When I say it is true that he is a shy boy, that means at the same time there are two types of clauses. It is true, it is the one clause. He is a shy boy, the another clause. So it is true, this is the main clause, and that he is a shy boy is the subordinate clause. This subordinate clause functions as the noun clause, and though it begins from that, that's why you call it as the that clause. Likewise, it has not been decided main clause. It has not been decided this is the main clause. Who will organize the show is the WH word clause. Clear? So dear class, now we will check ourselves whether we know right or wrong. So Akanksha, now it's your turn time to stand up and say, identify the WH word clause and that clause in the above sentences. I know who is playing. Yes, Akanksha? Who is playing? Good girl. Sit down. Now Ansuman, you stand up and say, The second one, my idea is that we should help him. What is that clause? Good Anshuman, that we should help him. Now you sit down. It's Amya. Now stand up and say, she believes that he is honest. Okay, identify that clause, that he is honest. Good, Amya. Yes, Swagadika. Now you stand up and say, the stranger asked whether you have a car. Good. Whether you have a car. Okay. Now, Rachana, you stand up and say, it is believed that Raghu is honest. That Raghu is honest. Good. So, this is all about our types of noun clause. The first one is that clause and the second one is WH word clause. Next class, we will deal with relative clause. Thank you all.